All right, and we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the DJ the Money Coach Financial Expert Series, brought to you by the Seven Spheres of Money. Thank you for joining us. And before we get into this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, Seven Spheres of Money. Now, we have another incredible guest joining us. All of our guests are incredible, but we have a living legend here. And I'll have DJ go ahead and introduce him. Well, actually, before he introduces him, I'll say that I was first introduced to this gentleman during my time in Washington D.C. as a student at Howard University. I wasn't a radio guy at WHUR. I was a TV guy over at WHUT. But I did hear about Dr. Willie Jolley and follow some of his endeavors and speeches and things of that nature. But I'll turn it over to DJ so he can give an introduction of himself, a brief introduction of Dr. Jolley, and then we'll let Dr. Jolley tell his story in its entirety.
All right. Hey, thank you. It's another great day in America, and it's especially a great day to be free in America, especially as a black man and a black family. So we want to say, thanks to all those people. And we also want to send our blessings out to the people that are having to, deal with the pandemic, and hopefully that your family is safe, sound, and doing all the right things to keep yourselves out of harm's way. But today we have, like Nick said, we have a living legend. It's somebody that I was following for about 20 years indirectly, and came across one of his books that was, called, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback. And when I came across the book, it was at a low point in my life. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was like mid '97, and I was having some tough times. I had started a business. The business was flailing before I corrected it and made it, a successful 7-figure business. But I was in this network marketing group, and his book was one of the books of the month that you had to read. And when I read that book, it gave me perspective on my life, on where I was, that the future was still bright, but there was learning lessons that I needed to, figure out from why I was having this setback and why not to quit. And when I read the whole book, I was like, wow, man, I got an inspiration. I got more invigorated, and I was like, you know what, I can go out here and fight the world. And I said to myself mentally, I said, you know what, if I ever get a chance to meet this gentleman, I was going to thank him for the inspiration of the book that he wrote at that time. That was pivotal for me to get myself back on core with the things I was supposed to accomplish in the vocation that God put me on pathway. So without him knowing that, and we came through a process of building, a successful endeavor. And if you don't know me, my story real quick is real simple. It's just this. I, like you, went to school, first generation, college, graduate. And unlike most of us, I didn't know anything about personal finances. And I came out, got my first job, and applied for my first mortgage, and I got turned down. And at that point in time, I was disappointed, and I was like, wow, okay. So I didn't think nothing about it. And then a couple of years later, when I started my business, I got turned down for a small business loan. At that point in time, most people generally will take the victim role. But I decided not. The bank told me that, you know what, you got $60,000 worth of debt. $40,000 of it was consumable debt that I was just signing my name on credit cards just to make my way through life at the time while I was in college, et cetera, et cetera. But instead of, blaming other people, I read a book called The Road to Wealth. And I read just a chapter about credit. I learned how credit worked. And within 12 months of that, my credit score went to 720. 24 months from that day, my credit rose above 800. That's not what I was excited about. What I was excited about is that I got myself completely out of debt. I didn't file bankruptcy. 6 years later, 2002, I became consumer debt-free, paid off all of my debt. And 6 years after that, 2008, I became free in America. What does that mean? I had a business. I had real estate. I had dividend stocks. I had eclipsed a 6-figure passive income. And I also owned myself, and I stepped out of debt into the life of real freedom. And in the process of doing that, I started teaching these principles of success to my community. Started at my church, the YMCA, the state of Illinois, the Attorney General's office, and the Federal Reserve. and I kept reading books, kept plugging into the system. So what we're doing here today, we're going to bring you a legend and give him his flowers while he's still with us, and show with you guys why it's important that his message needs to be heard across all platforms, because he's built an amazing business. He's a PhD. He's written a bajillion of books, but the one series that I like the most is his love message that he has with his beloved wife. And they got incredible togetherness where they like each other, they love each other, they have a system that people plug into, and they actually mentor people from the God base, putting God, family, and then everything else in the proper alignment. And I was fortunate through my network of knowing somebody that knew Dr. Jolley, Dr. Frazier, who's my mentor, and I have been reaching out and said, hey, Dr. Jolley, I want to get on your show. And we talked to Dr. Frazier, and he said, I'm going to give this young man a blessing, even though he doesn't have the cachet that most people I bring on my show, but he also blessed us. And I said, I want to bestow that blessing back on our show. So this person has now become very important to me. He was always important, but now that I know him, I've met his beautiful wife, and they've been helping us out tremendously across the landscape, that it behooves me not to share this gem with everybody. So I want to introduce you to the amazing Dr. Willie Jolley. And again, it's great to have you on the show, Dr. Jolley, and it's a blessing to see you live and healthy with your beloved wife, Dee. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing terrific, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be with you and Nick, and to be able to be with your viewers, your listeners, and your audience, wherever they may be around the world. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, I can't refuse it. I didn't seek it, I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it. Give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. So I'm grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity to share some ideas and hopefully some programs and principles that I like to hopefully empower people through, that will change their thinking so that they can change their actions, so that they can change their lives and change their future, but more importantly, change their legacy. Because it's not just about what you do here, it's about what you leave and the impact you came and left the world better. You know, some people die and you don't even recognize or realize they're gone because they didn't do anything. They didn't have any impact. So you want to be a person of impact so that your kids will be glad you came this way. Your grandkids will be able to be proud of you, and you will be able to say, I did something that made a difference. Even if it's raising good kids, even if it's raising some money and leaving it for a scholarship, whatever it is, that you're making a difference. So I'm grateful to be here with you.
Oh, man, absolutely. So I mean, Dr. Jolley, you've done so much in your lifetime that actually, to me, you've done 4 lifetimes worth of work. So can you give us a little backstory about who was, Willie Jolley when he was 14, 15 years of age? Can you tell us a little bit about who Willie Jolley was?
I appreciate your kindness of saying that I need to give the backstory about my youth, but I believe there are going to be some people on this video or some people on this audio or on this program who say, I never heard of Dr. Willie Jolley. Who is he? So before I get to my backstory, let me tell you my backstory, just in the fact of those who might say, I don't know this guy, but I'm interested in knowing a little more. So I make my living giving motivational, inspirational speeches all over the globe in regular times, post or pre-pandemic times. And I speak to companies like Ford Motors and General Motors and Johnson & Johnson Dubai, Coca-Cola South Africa, Prudential Malaysia, Chase Manhattan Bank. So I speak for a lot of major corporations, or have done that over the years, all over the globe. I made my living for many years, not as a speaker, but as a nightclub singer. I was a nightclub singer, singing in nightclubs, won a lot of awards for best jazz singer, best entertainer, best performer, and was doing very well. Had bought a house, had a car, a little sports car, things were going well. But one night I went into the nightclub where we had built it into one of the top nightclubs in Washington. People would line up at 7 o'clock for the 8 o'clock show, 9 o'clock for the 10 o'clock show. But they lined up because it was a very small room. And it could only fit about 60 or 70 people comfortably. So the owner was always trying to figure out new ways that he could increase revenues. Well, one day I went in, one night we went in and had a great show. At the end of the night, the owner told us, "I want to talk to you guys." And I'm all excited because I'm ready to get our raise. And he said, "We love you guys. Y'all help us make a lot of money," which is why it's hard for me to tell you what I got to tell you. We've decided to make a change. We are trying to get a better return on investment. Now, the only way to do that with this very small nightclub is to lower the cost. And the band's the biggest cost. And we found something else that's filling up nightclubs with people trying to get in and lining up at the door and everything. But it's a lot cheaper than a band. And this was during the time of a karaoke craze, karaoke machine. So he said, "We bought a karaoke machine. We're going to try that for a while." And I was, what about my bills? And I learned that now nobody cares about your bills, but you and the people you owe. And I was devastated because I'd worked so hard to build this nightclub into the #1 night spot. I've done interviews. I sent out my own postcards. I built the clientele, the cachet. I've done all sorts of things to try and make this a popular spot. And we achieved it, but we got fired. And I was devastated. But a friend of mine gave me two things that impacted my future. Gave me first a audio cassette tape, a motivational audio cassette. Many are too young to even remember cassette tapes. But this cassette tape was a cassette tape, and it had on it a guy, a motivational speaker, who said, "In 5 years, you'll be the same person you are today, except for two things: the people you meet who inspire you, and the books you read that empower you." I said, "Wow, the people you meet who inspire you and the books you read that empower, wow." And then that same friend gave me that audio, gave me a book called Think and Grow Rich. And I had never read a book from cover to cover. I'd done my school books, but skimmed through those. But I read this book, and I listened to this audio, and it changed my thinking. And so I took a job with the Washington, D.C. public school system while I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. I took this job as a drug prevention coordinator, talking to little kids about staying away from drugs. And it was during that year that I discovered an ability I didn't know I had, to use words to communicate. From the little kids, the teachers would say, "Wow, that was good. Can you come to my teachers group?" And someone there would say, "Can you come to my church?" And someone there would say, "Can you come to my company?" And then someone there would say, "Can you come to my agency?" And then it continued to grow. And then Les Brown, the great motivator, heard me speak at a small little meeting. He was just happening to be going down the hall to the ballroom where he was going to be speaking. And he heard me speak, and he said, "I love what I heard. You'd be the perfect opening act for a tour that I'm kicking off called the Music and Motivation Dream Team Tour." And he said, "Are you interested?" I said, "Yeah, I'm very interested." So a few months later, we kicked that tour off, which featured Les Brown, Billy Preston, the great organist, Gladys Knight, and a little guy from Washington, D.C., me. Because of Les and Gladys, they introduced me to radio people. I got a little radio show. It got popular, got syndicated. You can now hear me on daily on Radio 1 stations across America on Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell, every morning at 8:20 Eastern, 7:20 Central. And then you can hear me weekends and evenings on Sirius XM on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way show, which I'm proud to say now the #1 self-help show in the country. Because of the successes of the radio and television, I did a couple PBS specials. A book publisher saw me and heard me and called my office and said, "I love your ideas. I'd like to talk about doing a book. Are you interested?" I said, "I think so." Again, "Yeah, I think so." And so I wrote a book called It Only Takes a Minute, Change Your Life, became a national bestseller. Then I wrote a book that went global. A setback is a setup for a comeback. Put me on the map globally, then turned setbacks into greenbacks. and then an attitude of excellence, and then make love, make money, make it last, the one I wrote with my wife, and Chicken Soup for the Soul. And things started happening. In 1999, I was named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world by the 175,000 members of Toastmasters. In 2005, I was inducted into Speaker Hall of Fame. And in 2013, I was named a legend of the speaking industry. And last year, I was named, given a Lifetime Achievement Award by the American Motivation Association for speaking. And this all happened, DJ and Nick, because I had a setback. I got fired. And what I tell people now in my speeches is that a setback is a setup for a comeback, and that you can turn your setbacks not only into comebacks, but turn those comebacks into greenbacks. And so that is my story. Now, let me tell you the answer to the back story. When I was 13, 14 years old, I was an entrepreneur. I didn't know I was an entrepreneur. I just was an entrepreneur. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit because my father put it in me as a child. When I was a little boy, my brother and I went to a school, or elementary school, a few blocks from my home. And every morning my mom would start, get us up, and she'd cook breakfast, while my father was down as an entrepreneur in the basement at his Underwood typewriter. Y'all don't know what an Underwood typewriter is. That's an old, big, it was a big old typewriter with all manual. But he was a newspaper. He was a entrepreneur journalist. He would submit stories for newspapers and edit stories, and that's how he made his living. Well, my mom was a school teacher. She'd get us up, and then it would be on him. He would get us all ready, and then she'd go into school. And he, around 8:45, he'd say, okay, guys, time for y'all to go to school. And he'd take us to the school building, and as the other little kids were getting out of the car, we could overhear their parents say, okay, Bobby, remember what you're supposed to do today? Yes, ma'am. What is it? Go to school, yeah? Get a good education, so you can get a good job. Right, there you go. You got it, Bobby. And then Susie, remember, go to school, get a good education so you can get you a good job. And Billy, go over to, remember, you got to go to school, get you a good education so you get a good job. But my father would say to my brother and I, hey, guys, remember what you're supposed to do today. What is it? Yes, sir. Go to school. Yep. Get a great education. Yep. So you can create some good jobs. And so seed was planted as a child. So I started when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, shoveling snow and cleaning people's yards and walking people's dogs. I was a dog walker before it became even a popular occupation. Today is a big deal. I was walking people's dogs. I had contracts with folks to walk their dogs. Then I got a paper route, a pretty big paper route. I got a pretty big one by myself. And I started doing the paper route, and I did that. I bought a bicycle, and then things kept going. And then I got in the music business, and then I started a small recording studio, and then I grew that into a big recording studio, and then I sold that. And so I've been an entrepreneur along the way. And so all those times, particularly when I got the recording company and a recording studio, I had employees, and I'm still a young man. But I realized that my dad was right, that you've got to have a mindset to create wealth and not just make money, but create wealth. So I've got that mindset, have had that mindset, and thank God I still have that mindset. And so now we got Jolley Publishing, we got Jolley TV, we got Jolley Radio, we got Jolley Media, and all of that is because of that mindset, that we want to be able to build something that, as I said, is not just about being successful now, but the Bible says, and I'm a man of faith, the Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And so that's what we want to help people do. So that's my story. That's the backstory and the backstory. And I hope that is helped that with what you were asking.
Oh man, that was amazing. That was incredible. And the thing I like is the fact that everything is jolly. Literally everything is jolly. And we have a premise that we said hey, we don't get involved in it if it doesn't give us equity and ownership for the legacy of our children's children's children. So, at least 4 generations. So that in of itself. So with that said, Dr. Jolley, how is it in today's environment that you guys are making an impact on the relationships? Because one of the things we have right now, we have a negative narrative about Black families that is so untrue. It really only represents maybe about 2-3% of our society, and it doesn't tell the real story that you guys talk about that 97% of getting it right. So can you talk to us about that vocation that you and your wife have endeavored on, sir?
Yeah, thank you. Well, we wrote a book, as you said, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, and 10 Secrets for Shaping a Great Marriage. We've been married going on 36 years. 36 years. Haven't had an argument in over 33 years. Now, someone asked us in an interview, "You've never had an argument?" I said, "I didn't say that. I said we never had an argument for 33 years. Those first few years were like World War III, okay? And it was tough. We had some major arguments. In fact, we almost broke up one night over Chinese food. Arguments, when you have a marriage that's not fundamentally strong, anything can break it up. Somebody get mad because who turned out the lights? We had one couple we talked to. They had a big old argument. Who gonna turn out the lights? And they had a hollering and screaming. It's just terrible. But that's what we were. We were arguing over Chinese food. But we got past that and got some what we call mentors, marriage mentors. And here's what I want everybody to write this one down. I'm gonna give you my first pearl for you to write down. There are 2 ways to get to any goal: mentors or mistakes. Now, both will get you there. If you don't quit and don't give up, you'll eventually get there. But when you use mentors, it gets you there quicker, faster, with less headaches, heartaches, and knots upside your head. So we got mentors who had been married 30, 40, 50, and 60 years, and we learned from them. And that's when our marriage was changed, because we embraced what we learned from these marriage mentors. It worked. We stopped arguing. Our fundamental and our foundation got stronger. And then we went on and started building a great marriage. And I would say we got a great marriage now, 36 years. And we are just like having a ball. And then we wrote the book based on those principles that we learned from those marriage mentors that we embraced, that worked for us, and we wanted to see if they work for others. Well, we put them in a book. Well, the book now is second printing. We're on lots of major media. People are calling saying, we were on our way to divorce court. One guy said, I was expecting to pay anywhere between $10,000 and $100,000 to do a divorce. I spent a little bit of money on your book. I got the whole bundle or package for your book. It was $150. And we tried it. We are now not only still married, we are happily married. And so, think about that. The difference between a small investment in your marriage and a small cost to end your marriage, okay? And a small fortune to end your marriage. So the book has done well. The marriage show, we do a Monday night show now called Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. The broadcast, that's doing great. People are joining in from all over the globe: Ireland, Scotland, England, Paris, Caribbean, South Africa, who join in 9 o'clock on Monday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern on Facebook Live and Instagram Live. And so the book is now giving people principles. Let me tell you what I want y'all, another thing I want y'all to realize. Principles are the key to long life success. Principle-based success. Not a flash in the pan success, not a get rich quick success. Principle-based success. Principles are bedrock. They work over and over and over again because they're principle-based. If I took a rock and threw the rock up in the air, it would come down every time. If I did it 10 times, it would come down 10 times. Did it 100 times, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, it's always going to come down because of a principle called gravity. Well, this book is based on principles that work over and over and over again. And if you use it, it will change your life. It will change your marriage. If you got a good marriage, it'll make it better. If you got a jacked up marriage and you are arguing and hollering and distrustful and mad and angry and can't sleep, then it will help to fix that so you can start to have some peace. But let me tell you, you don't need to have no war at home when you got enough war outside the house, going to work every day. Life is tough. You know, someone said business is war. It's tough. You know, you got to fight through people who are not what they say they're going to do or don't do what they say they're going to do, people who let you down, or people who are not honest or have integrity or character. You got all of this stuff, and then you got competition, complexity, and all of this is going on at the same time. So you don't need to come home after you done fought the wars out in the business world. Come home to drama. Who wants that? Nobody wants that. So, in fact, chapter number 5 in the book says it better than I can say. It says, you need to leave the drama with your mama. Come on, somebody.
Oh, man, I love that. You know, the thing I love about your relationship that just emanates every time I see you and Dee together, it seems like you guys are newlyweds every time I see you. And you always say one important word is that we like each other. So can you share with us how, when you turn that corner from year 3 to year 4 to this beautiful relationship 36 years later, how did that evolve from the mentorship that you keep it fresh daily?
You know, there are a number of things we talk about in the book that we recommend. One, chapter number 1, principle number 1, friends first. Friends first. You need to marry your best friend. See, people get married. DJ and Nick. Nick, you're not married yet, are you? No, so I can talk to you because DJ married. He got a whole family. He got a tribe. Okay, he already got a tribe. But Nick, I'm gonna tell you what I tell my son. A couple things. One, marry somebody who's your friend. Friends first, because people get married for all sorts of reasons. Dudes get married because the girl got, you know, boom, boom, bam, bam. I mean, you know, she's popping all at the right spot, and that's all they can think about. Or ladies get married because the dude is handsome, or he got a fancy car, he got a hot car, or there's money. Somebody got some money, or somebody got a nice job. People get married for all sorts of reasons. Get a green card. I've had all sorts of reasons people get married. So we don't know why people get married, but we do know that the ones who are the most successful are the ones who married their best friend, someone who they dig being with. So first is friends first. Now, to answer your question, DJ, how do we keep it fresh? Well, that's chapter number 9. Always date your mate. Always date your mate. You should always date your mate. Many people, they'll date, they spend a lot of money, they go out to theater, to dinner, they go and treat them nice when they dating, but then when they get married, they settle into not dating. They just married. And then you get kids, and you know, DJ, you know, with kids, you know, kids will suck up all the air in your world if you allow them to. They always got a need. So what we recommend is a principle where you always have a date night. Every week you have a date night. People say, well, you know, we can't have a date. It's a pandemic. We don't have a lot of money. Oh, no. An older couple gave us that recommendation and said, y'all need to have a date night. Really? But we had no money. At that point, we had no money. So they said, you don't need money. You just need intentionality. Make it intentional. So what we would do is on Thursday night at 9 o'clock, we would have our date from 9 to 11. That's when we had our favorite television shows. Hill Street Blues, LA Law. We know, y'all be too young to remember those. Anyway, we would tell the kids, you know, this is mommy and daddy's time. Now, the door would be open, our bedroom door, but we'd sit in front of the television on our little sofa at the foot of our bed, and we'd watch our favorite show with Jiffy Pop popcorn. Y'all even know what that is. That's I know you don't know. Nick.
I remember it.
All right. Yeah, See, Jim, Nick had no idea what that is. Jiffy Pop, it come in a little, like a little aluminum can kind of thing, a little aluminum, and you put it on the stove and you shake it like this. It costs you 50 cents. 50 cents. You get $1, you get 3 of them, and you pop it like that, pop, 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 and then and that's your popcorn. All right, that was our day. It cost us 50 cents. Okay, and so we would eat the Jiffy Pop popcorn. We watched the television, and our 2 rules were: you cannot talk about the kids, and you cannot talk about the bills. See, when you were dating, you didn't talk about the kids, you didn't talk about the bills, so we couldn't talk about the kids. During that time, we had to talk about us, our relationship, our goals, our dreams, our hopes, our fears, our pain. Man, that's when it got good. DJ, that's when it got good. That's when the friendship really, making it intentional. Every Thursday night at 9 o'clock. Now, here's the kicker. That's when the kids were there. The kids are gone, been gone. They are grown and on their own. We still have a date night every Thursday night, 9 o'clock. Now, it might be we go to Walmart and walk around holding hands, or Home Depot, or we might watch a movie, or we might just go for a ride. You know, we don't know, but we got an intentionality. It's intentional, and we talk about us, our goals, our dreams, our hopes, our fears, our pain. I'm telling you, folks. So that's first thing, Nick. The second thing I want to tell you this. The most important decision, Nick, you will ever make next to your faith is who you marry. That's the most important decision, more than the business you're in, more than how much money you're going to make, is who you marry. Because that person is going to be responsible for 90% of your misery or 90% of your joy. So you got to choose well. You hear me? Choose well. So they got to be friends first, that you dig this person, you like them. Y'all, D and I don't have to say anything. We just like being in the same space. Second is that you make God an equal part of your marriage. We believe in making God equal. He's an equal part. We see marriage as a triangle. It's got 3 corners. I'm in one corner, D in one corner, and God at the top. That means 34, 33, and 33. He gets the majority, and everything filters up through the top. What does God say about this? How do we handle this? What do we do when we don't know what to do? And third is we talk about everything. The good, the bad, the ugly. We talk. We don't hold back. We don't keep secrets. We don't have any hidden agendas, because that has an impact on the marriage. And we talk and make sure that we continue to talk even when we disagree. Now, we disagree. We disagree a lot. Just because we don't argue doesn't mean we don't disagree. We always agree. We disagree, but we've got systems that are set up so that we will always come back to a centric point. One of the systems is never go to bed mad. The Bible says, "Don't let the wrath go down. Don't let the sun go down in your wrath." And what that we taught, an older couple taught us this: that you don't want to take today's problems into tomorrow. Fix it before you go to sleep. Make that a hard and fast rule. We're not going to take today's problems into tomorrow. We're going to fix it, and tomorrow we start afresh. Last one I want you to do. This is for you more, DJ. Hold hands. Hold hands. Now, you hold hands with your girlfriend, but many times when you get married, you stop. I don't know why people stop, but an old man told me, hold hands, boy. You better hold hands. Why? He said, because when you're holding hands, you're not just holding hands. You're holding hearts. Good God Almighty. That was good. That was good. And we hold hands wherever. One day we were walking one day near our home. We went out for a walk in the evening. We holding hands. And this dude drives by. This is an obvious pandemic. And a good dude drives by. Stops. Backs up. He said, man, what I'm talking about. He said, y'all holding hands. I said, yes, sir. He said, man, I got to do that more. I said, it will make a world of difference. So we talk about in the book the 3 things, Nick and DJ, that break up marriage, so that we can start the slide. 50% of marriages in America break up. And of the 50% that remain, 40% of those people are miserable. according to statistics. So that's why we wrote the book. And so the three things that break up marriages are sex, lack of, not enough of, or too much of, not enough of, or too much of, and you don't know what to do with it. Joe Minute, that's why they need to come and get your course so they can learn how to manage their money. Sex, money, and then communication. It's never too much communication unless you're talking outside your marriage. But what happens in most marriages is a lack thereof. People stonewall. People get mad. They shut down. They give the silent treatment. They don't talk about everything that they're thinking. They withhold. And, they should have been a mind reader. They should have known what I was thinking. No, that's bad. Those things are. So let me tell you what we're going to do. Everybody, a friend of Nick, if you would, I'm going to give you two things. One, I'm going to give you a book. I'm going to give everybody a book. Where is it?
You see all those books?
I had a book back here called, it's over there. It's called Only the Best of Success. I'm going to give you a digital copy of the book, Only the Best of Success. Some of the best speakers in the world are in this book. I just happen to be one of them. We'll send it to you by email. If you send me an email at info@williejolly.com, INF as in Frank, O at williejolly.com, then all you got to do is say, friend of DJ. That's all you got to do. We'll send you the book. All right, friend of DJ, and we'll send you the book by digital. The other thing is, for all you who want to stay married, improve your marriage, upgrade your marriage, and have more fun, have more sex, have more money, have more keeping it together, then I'm going to give you the chapter that impacts all of that. If you talk more and you have better communication, you get better love. If you talk more and have better communication, you make more money and you keep more money. And so we're going to give you the big chapter, the biggest chapter in the book, communication. My gift to each one of you, if you just go to winwithwillie.com, winwithwillie.com, look for the Jolly Marriage icon. Click that button. It'll take you to the marriage site, and you can access getting a free chapter from the marriage book that you can get right then. So winwithwillie.com, click the marriage button and marriage site button and get that free chapter.
Man, look at that. Look at that. Dr. Jolley is giving away some priceless nuggets and priceless gifts. So if you ain't getting anything from this legend, get this information so that you can do things right. I always share with people, Dr. Jolley, I only follow people who are where I want to be in life. And I tell people it's three mentors you should have. You should have a God mentor, you should have a leadership mentor, and you should have a business mentor. And they should be living the life that you aspire to have, that you can emulate the principles of success, just like you just shared with us, because that's so important. Because like you said, it's three things that we've come to learn. I teach my children. I said, if you lost money, you lost nothing. If you lose a friend, you lost something. But if you lose your name and your self-respect, you've lost everything.
That's a great thing. I'm so glad you said that, man. That's a brilliant thing for you to say to your kids, because that's absolutely true. My dad used to say that to me. Said your name, more than anything else, is the most important thing you got, is your name, your reputation. Protect it with all costs. Man, that's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Absolutely. So I want to segue and talk about your incredible show, Wealthy Ways with Dr. Willie Jolley, that's on Sirius XM, that you were kind enough to bless me to come on as a guest, and tell them how powerful that show is and why you put it together and how it became so successful across the globe on Sirius XM.
One of the things, thank you, DJ, for saying that, and I appreciate that. And you did a great job. You blew it out the water, man. People were going nuts, going crazy. And I believe you got a lot of clients from that, because I had people call me afterwards and say, who was that guy? Who was that guy? So I would say to everybody who did not hear the interview I did with DJ, the Money Coach, that you can get that interview actually on my podcast, the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast, wherever you get podcasts. Now, the XM show came to me because I'm into self-development. Once that guy gave me that cassette and that book, then Oh, by the way, let me give everybody access to that book. How would you like that? Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
The book that changed my life was Think and Grow Rich. If you go to wjwow.com, wow, W-O-W, wow.com. You go to wjwow.com, you can get access to the Think and Grow Rich book. It'll be a digital version, and that's a book that has made more millionaires than any other book ever written except the Bible. And so my friend Joe Dudley, he said he's read it 300 times. The first 100 times to get him rich, second 100 times to keep him rich, and the third 100 times was for insurance. So wjwow.com. So I was into self-development, and I knew how it changed me by going to seminars, talking to wealthy people, getting the mindset around wealthy people. And I said, wow, wouldn't it be great if I could bring these people I've met over the years to others and let them hear what I hear. So I started doing the show just like sitting around my kitchen table, where you have some of your best conversations around your kitchen table. And I would have one guest per show, and we just talk about their story, their circumstances, their challenges, their problems, their successes, and their failures. And I'm telling you, it took off. So we got General Colin Powell. We've got John Maxwell. We got Damon John. We got T.D. Jakes, Gladys Knight. We got DJ the Money Coach. We've got Les Brown, Dennis Kimbrough, George Frazier. We've got shows with Steve Case, founder of AOL. I just did Michael V. Roberts, the black billionaire from St. Louis. Dave Stewart, the black billionaire, also from St. Louis. They're different companies, but they're the two of the wealthiest people in America. We had Bob Johnson, the first black billionaire. We had his former wife, owner of the Washington Mystics basketball franchise, Sheila Johnson. Just one after another of great thinkers, and it's just exploded. We got then after it became the #1 show on Sirius XM, then iHeartRadio picked it up for their podcast, and now it's on iHeart, C-Suite, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify. So it's the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show. Sirius XM channel 141 airs Saturday at 4 o'clock, re-airs Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. And then it goes to podcast where you can hear it whenever you want on demand.
Nick, put that up there. So Dr. Jolley, I mean, you're a creative person. And
yeah.
Generally, entrepreneurs like yourself and other entrepreneurs generally have a blind spot on the organizational side. Because
that's right.
All that great creativity that God has bestowed upon you, how did you corral that blind spot and make all this organization and this magic continue to sustain itself? What's the key to that part of your business?
Man, that's a great question and an honest question. And the answer is honest. I have not corralled it. I still have a blind spot. And it is a huge problem with people like you, or maybe me, and other creative thinkers. That is why I got Dee Taylor Jolley, my wife in my life. That is why you got Nick in your life. It's because, you can't be everything. Everybody has a blind spot. It's called scotoma. Everybody has a scotoma. And that scotoma is that blind spot. In your car, it says vehicles are closer than they appear, because we all have a blind spot. And so we can't be everything. The creative people are not always the analytical. And the analytical don't have that same creative juice that the creative people. So what you do is you find strategic alliances, people who bring you where you're weak, and you help them where they're weak. And so Dee is very detail oriented. She's very organized. I am not. Okay. You're seeing the organized part of my office. The rest of it, I got papers and books, and I got stuff. I got stuff all over there, because I swear I got my creativity. Einstein, Einstein said a clean desk is a sign of a sick mind. I retain that. Okay, I know it's not quite true, but look, here's what I realized, man. I got all sorts of stuff happening because I got all of these things going on, man. Look at my life. I got Sirius XM radio show. I just did my radio show for the day. and I edit it and send it to Sirius XM. I got my daily radio show that I do on Radio 1. Well, Kathy Hughes called and signed me to Radio 1. So I got that every week. I got Sirius, I got my radio, I got my speaking business. I got to speak. I got to speak tonight. when I finish this, I got a speech that I got to do for a company, and that we're pre-recording, and then they will have it available for a big gala they have on Friday, and they have to have the tech stuff done. And so, and then after that, I've got, after my speech tonight, I got a book that I'm working on. So I'm working on a new book, and I work on that in the morning. So I got a new book. I got a second book back here in my brain, but I can't get to it till I finish this one. And so then I got my Monday night show with my marriage show with my wife. And then Saturday mornings, I do a faith-based show on Facebook Live. And I'm doing all of this, man, all because it's all in my brain. And it's all of this stuff. But thank God I got a wife. A guy called me and said, how in the world are you putting out so much content, man? He called me last week, said, man, every day I get an email or LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram for Willie Jolley. What in the world? I said, man, my wife and my team, they organize. They got a blog. We got this, we got that. I said, that's the team. I think up the thought. Here's what I call it. I'm the tree shaker. They the jelly makers. Come on, somebody. My job is to shake the tree, shake them apples off the tree. They got to make jelly, apple jelly and apple jam and apple butter and all of the apple cake and apple pie. That's their job. My job is to do the shaking. And so that's what I do. I do what I do well. And so I want to encourage everybody who wants one of those morning motivational messages that get sent to you free. If you go to winwithwillie.com, just sign up for my newsletter, and you'll get that. Bam! Every Monday through Friday, I send out something that will inspire, uplift, encourage, empower you, all in a minute. Because you only got a minute. You know, you got to make the most of it, 60 seconds in it. So I keep it all to a minute, and bam, hit them upside the head, and you can go make some money.
Oh man, woo, boy, that's some fire. I see how you stay young. So I know you got to do your talk for the company on Friday. So we're not going to hold you much longer. About another 3-5 minutes, Dr. Jolley. So
I'm having fun with you, man. I'm having fun with you two. Hey, look, I do wonder why you both got on Detroit hats. I mean, neither one of you that y'all not from Detroit. So what's up with that?
That's a great question. This is actually not Detroit. This is D for DJ, the money coach. And if you look real closely, that insignia is slightly different and is not infringing on trademark. That's D for DJ, the money coach. You're the first person to ask that.
Got it.
And this is our hottest seller. People ask us for this hat all the time. So if you see real closely, the insignia is slightly different than the actual D, but it does, favor it a little bit. But that's what we're about, and that's the coaching part of me, because I was a baseball coach, and now that I do financial coaching, it just makes sense that when we talk to people, we look at it from the mindset of actual coaching in a metaphoric way of sports. So
got it. Okay, good.
So with that said, how do you have discernment when it comes to finding good people to put on your team? Because that's been a challenge for me, Dr. Jolley, and I know you've mastered it, but how do you go about that, sir?
That's a great question, and that's a wonderful question. First of all, I have made a decision that whoever comes to work for me, that they come to work with me. And I always tell them that I want you to come work with me, not work for me, because I want you to grow as we grow. I want you to prosper as we grow. Next thing is you ask, how do you find them? Or how do you discern who is the right person? I'm always praying about things, man. I told you I'm a man of faith. I'm praying about stuff. Is this the right one? Send the right one, Lord. I need the right one now. And when they come, I want to know, I want to talk to them. I want to talk to them about their goals and dreams. I want to hear what their aspirations. And then I want to see if I can, during our conversation, when we're doing an informal interview, what about their values? What about their family? What's important to them? That's where you start to figure out, is this somebody who you want to be in your camp? But once they're there, I don't know if they're going to stay forever, but I do know that my goal is when they finally leave, they're better than when they came. So I'm pouring into them. I'm pouring in them and encouraging them. I'm encouraging them to to live their dreams, to get wealthy. I'm encouraging them to spend quality time with their families. So I think it's critically important that when people come work with us, that we help them to grow as we go and as they go.
Oh man, that's not, you know, that's today we live in such an individualistic world. There are a lot of these young kids, and rightfully so, they should have their own agency, which I applaud. But at the same time, they need to know how to belong to a team, because
there's questions. Look, and they could be part of it. They got to be part of my team. That I want them when they're with me, that they're thinking, what can we do? What can I do to help Willie Jolley win? But when they're not with me, I want to encourage them to what they can do to help themselves win, because I think it's important that we do both. And let me tell you, I interviewed David Falk, who was Michael Jordan's manager all the way through. He's still his manager today. And he's a multimillionaire. And he said, you know, when Michael was playing with Chicago Bulls, Dennis Rodman was a distracting force on every other team he had been on. But when he played with the Bulls, the reason that he was able to play harmoniously with the Bulls, because Michael talked to him as a person and said, when you put on this Chicago Bulls uniform, I want you to be a Bull, because we want to win. I want you to win. Now, when you off and you doing your thing, go on and dress up like a bride and do whatever you want to do. That's all your thing. But when you put on this Bulls uniform, I want you to think Bull. We're going to win. And that's why he was able to become a valuable and viable part of the Bulls, because it was just having a conversation, talking to him about his goals and dreams. So I think that's a critical part of the success quotient, that you talk to each other, that you have good conversation. Look, in the marriage book, we talk about the 4 F's for creating great conversation. And sometimes great conversations are the result of some very uncomfortable, challenging conversations. But you got to have 4 F's that with any, whether you work with them, whether you are in your marriage or in their business, you work together, your partner. See, when you have a uncomfortable, challenging conversation, you got to have 4 F's. Number 1, be friendly. Never start off hostile, because when you're hostile, people put up defense mechanisms. Be friendly. Then be frank. Tell the truth. This is how that made me feel. Not be frank. You did this, you did that, you did this. Look, it don't take a genius to be able to point out all the problems. It takes a genius to fix the problems that are already there. So here's how that made me feel. Be friendly. Be frank. Be fair. Listen. Listen to their side. Take time to listen, because you want to hear their perspective. I didn't realize that was what you were seeing, what you were thinking, how you were feeling. Got it. Be friendly, be frank, be fair, and then be focused on a win-win. Zig Ziglar was my mentor, the great motivational speaker. And he said a famous quote that people have continued to use to this day. If you help enough other people they want, you'll get everything you want. So help enough others. That's why when you called me, you said, look, we need you on my show. We got a new show. I said, hey, DJ the Money Coach and Brother Nick, be my pleasure to come help you, because y'all have been in the vineyard, working hard, trying to help people. So if I can help you somewhere along the line, I'm going to call you one day and it's going to be, hey, I need your help on something I'm doing. And y'all say, yeah, man, you know what? That's how Les Brown and I are. That's how me and George Frazier are. That's how me and Dennis Timber, we're helping each other. Win-win. We want to help each other win. So that's, I think that's one of the keys to success. Again, I want to make sure we got people who take advantage of sending me. I want to give you that book, Only the Best on Success. I got one here somewhere back up in here. But if you'll send me an email at info@williejolly.com, I want to make sure you send you that digital book, because there's some real principles in there about exactly what you're talking about today, Nick.
Oh, man, that's fired up. So, Dr. Jolley, we know you crunch for time. So what we normally do on the show, and we actually inspired to do our show because of you and actually because of Dr. George Frazier. And actually what you said about 2 minutes ago about how you interview the people, and you took me through the same process. You did an informal interview with me and said, hey, man, tell me your story and tell me why it will be worth you coming on this platform that people don't know you, that can, you know, bless these people. And I get it. Now I know where the magic is, and I'm gonna steal that from you if that's okay with you. So
Please do.
Incorporating that into our business principles as well. So what we normally do is passing the baton. Is we allow Nick to give us a summary of what he learned from the expert on the Financial Expert Series. So Nick, can you chime in about 120 seconds, and then we're going to thank Dr. Willie Jolley for coming out and blessing our program. And man, this is amazing. This is awesome.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, I have some takeaways from your backstory, Dr. Jolley, as well as, you know, some of the concepts that you teach in your books and your program. So just from your backstory, I learned that you were an entrepreneur very early on as a boy, and that's something that followed you into your adult years. Also following the example of turning setbacks into get backs. And this is the Financial Expert Series. So those setbacks eventually become greenbacks also. that was another takeaway that I took from this conversation, as well as the importance of creating the wealth mindset and how that is different from just making money. Now, you like you said, you're right. I'm unmarried right now, so I definitely have some takeaways in that area. And those are marrying my best friend, you know, being friends first, of course, always dating your mate, making God an equal part of that relationship, and talking about everything. You know, the importance of that communication, and tying it back to finances. All of that is connected. This is the Financial Expert Series, and you know, your marriage, you're marrying your best friend, but this is your best friend and also your business partner too when it comes to finances. You know, so that's something that came to mind as I was listening to this conversation. So those are my main takeaways. Of course, there are many more, but those are the ones that stood out to me the most. So I thank you, Dr. Jolley, for sharing that elderly wisdom with me. And
good. Look,
yeah,
you just said something I want to make sure I don't drop off. When you get married to somebody, you're not just married. It's not just a love relationship. It's also a business relationship. It's a merger. It's a merger between two entities. And you got to be mindful that these two entities might have different processes on how they handle money. So you need to talk about it. Talk about the money. Talk about the money. So, man, it's just joy to see you guys making it happen. I'm grateful that y'all are helping people, and you did such a great job, Nick, on my show. And I want everybody to go hear that podcast. It was out of sight, off the chain.
Hey, Dr. Jolley, I really appreciate it. So 60 seconds, Dr. Jolley, can you give them your contact information, how we can get in contact with you, sir, so we can make it available to everybody in our tribe that we have, because that's important. And the one thing that I think we might all miss, the most important, is a selfless servitude mindset. I mean, that jumps off the page to me every time I meet you and talk to you. It's always unselfish, and it's always servitude, which in Good to Great, they talk about the number one leader out of 5 leaders is the servitude leader, and you personify a servitude leader. So if you can give us your contact information, and we appreciate your time on the platform, sir.
Well, thank you. That's a great way to close, and I'll close with a story about service. First of all, I want to thank you all for having me. I want people to go to winwithwillie.com, winwithwillie.com, sign up for the newsletter. If you need to reach me, you can click right there to contact right there, Win with Willie. But if you need to, if you send me the info at williejolly.com, that will reach me as well. My email, where you get the book when you say friend of DJ. So just reach out, winwithwillie.com. Let me close with the servant mindset. Martin Luther King Jr. in his last sermon at Ebenezer Baptist Church, 2 Sundays before he was killed. His last sermon was at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. But the last one at his church was a sermon he gave called The Drum Major Instinct. We know that is a great sermon. But in that sermon, there's a little piece that many people don't recognize how critically and profoundly important it is. He talks about service. He said, if you want to be important, that's fine. You want to be recognized, that's great. But if you want to be great, you need to know the new definition of greatness. And the new definition of greatness is the greatest among us is the greatest servant. He said, you can serve somebody, and that's where you become great. You don't have to have a college education to serve somebody. You don't need to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve somebody. You don't need to have your verb and now agree to serve somebody. You don't need to know the second theory of nuclear dynamics to serve somebody. All you need is a heart full of love and a soul generated by grace, and you can serve somebody. And if you serve somebody, you can be great. And so I'm encouraging you, wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, make a commitment that you're going to be great. Make a commitment that you're going to serve somebody, and make a commitment that you're going to be better and leave this world better than when you came, and leave a legacy for your children's children's great-grandchildren. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. You have only just a minute, 60 seconds in it, so make the most of it. And remember for sure, your best. God bless you.
Oh, man, thank you. So with that said, I want to thank my moderator, Nick Westbrooks. I want to thank my amazing living legend guest, Dr. Willie Jolley. I'm DJ the Money Coach on the Financial Expert Series with DJ the Money Coach, and we always want to leave you with this one message. We want you to have a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money and peace of mind, and we want you to come join us on the Beaches of the World Club. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, Dr. Jolley. God bless.